Hey everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks. And let me start by saying this is not going to be a happy, fun video. There's going to be no gameplay in it, but it's an issue that I really want to get off my chest and deliver my full opinion of. And that is gambling in World of Tanks. Now, gambling in video games has become a hot topic this year, with the way that companies are gamifying the gambling experience and becoming predatory in their loot boxes. So much so that it's now actually illegal to sell loot boxes in Belgium, which Wargaming are actually being forced to adhere to. You can't actually buy the loot crates that I'm going to be talking about in this video if you are Belgium. Now, loot boxes in World of Tanks are nothing new. You'll know if you were watching my channel last year that Wargaming had the Type 59 available in them in the 2017 Holiday Ops loot crates. And while at the time I strongly disagreed with this, the idea that Wargaming are encouraging reckless gambling to be able to get a highly sought after mythical vehicle, the thing was that the Type 59 was at least fairly balanced, and it wasn't really new. It was old. There were other tier 8 premium Chinese medium tanks. It didn't have any novel features. I don't feel like there was that much pressure by Wargaming to try and make you want the Type 59 and therefore want to gamble in loot boxes to be able to get it. And so while I strongly disagreed with the practice, this was the first time Wargaming had done something like this. I was hoping they would learn from it and they wouldn't repeat it in this year. However, ladies and gents, this year, the exclusive reward that everybody wants to get their hands on is the IS-3A. And this is a completely different ballgame than giving the Type 59 away. Firstly, this tank was literally just buffed yesterday, and I would argue to the point of the vehicle being overpowered. In addition to this, it is the first Soviet autoloader in the entirety of World of Tanks. And secondly, it's the first non-Italian auto-reloader, which effectively means that this tank has been changed so much that to all intents and purposes, it is a brand new tank. Now, if you watch my review on the IS-3A, you'll know that I said that this vehicle was originally sold in 2015. And so I'm sure that Wargaming are going to suggest that the IS-3A has been sold before, so is it such a big deal that they have it in a loot box? Well, yeah, it is. Hardly anybody bought the IS-3A back then because there were lots of other tier 8 premium tanks, and frankly, this one was balanced. And so as far as I'm concerned, to all intents and purposes, this is the first time the IS-3A has been available for anyone who was not an extreme tank collector. And the fact that literally just 24 hours ago it was buffed to the point of it being overpowered, it's the first Soviet autoloader in the game and everybody's going to want it, and it's the first non-Italian auto-reloader. Wargaming clearly know what they're doing when they make this a loot box exclusive. So next you might be wondering, well, what are my actual chances of being able to get an IS-3A in a loot box and how expensive are they? Well, if it's anything like last year, the chances of getting a specific tank inside a loot box will be 1%. And keep in mind, even if you buy these loot boxes in their biggest package available, they cost over £1 each. And so what that means is that to give yourself a 100% chance to even be able to get an IS-3A, you'd have to buy 100 loot boxes and pretty much spend about £120. That's about $150, ladies and gents. And for me, that is just absolutely outrageous. I feel so sorry for any of you who have just joined the game in the last few years and you're a tank collector and you're trying to keep up and support Wargaming and buy loads of lovely tanks for your garage, to now be completely slapped in the face by the prospect of literally having to spend $150 to only have an even chance of being able to get an IS-3A. Now, the reason why I've been quite quiet about this is I just presumed that they would sell the IS-3A separately, right? But no, it's not available. It's the 13th. The loot boxes are out and Wargaming has no intention of releasing the IS-3A as a separate purchase. Or are their staff members telling us if they're even going to sell it in the future? And so, as of right now, the only way to get the IS-3A in World of Tanks is to gamble, ladies and gents. You literally have to take a chance on purchasing something with real money, about £1.20 a shot, to be able to have a 1 in 100 chance of being able to get, to all intents and purposes, a brand new tank. And for me personally, it's just absolutely deplorable. Wargaming, do you honestly think that we are complete idiots because you're treating your customers like we are? And the thing that really annoys me about this is I know how many young players there are out there. I meet hundreds of you at Tankfest every year. Ages from 7 up to 77 are my community base. Actions like this blur the lines between a video game and chunking money into a slot machine. Now, I know that a lot of you, and especially Wargaming, are going to be stating that you actually get more value in the loot boxes than if you had purchased anything in the game shop anyway, and that I bet you they're suggesting that they do not recommend that people try and get the IS-3A through them, but that's all beside the point. If they really wanted to not have people gamble to get the IS-3A inside the loot boxes, then they would simply make it available for separate purchase. Why don't they do it? Why don't you just put it up for $40 or put it up for $50, however much you want to charge us? And then you could argue that literally the loot crates were not gambling because you had a choice. Do you want to pay a set amount of money and have the tank guaranteed in your garage, or do you want to gamble a seemingly infinite amount of money with the prospect of not even having the IS-3A? Give us another option to be able to get fresh, new, novel content in your game. Years ago, community contributors like myself and Paul, aka Jingles, who is now no longer a community contributor, flew all the way to blooming Cyprus to try and beg Wargaming that when they sell new content, they do not bundle it with other things like premium time and gold that we do not need. Well, I'm going to suggest this is completely reneging on that promise that was made to us. The new content would always be available separately, and for the reasons that I've outlined in this video, the IS-3A has never been sold in its current state, and now you're going to have to gamble at least about £120 to have a fair chance of being able to get it. Sure, you're going to get gold, sure, you're going to get premium time, but if you don't want those things at all, you've got no other option. And for that, I condemn Wargaming's current loot box policy, and I implore Wargaming to do one of two things. Number one, make the vehicle available for sale outside of the loot boxes right now. And if you can't do that for whatever reason, number two, tell us, confirm to us right now that it is going to be on for sale in the future, and exactly when that's going to be for all of your different servers. And until one of those two things happens, I am completely ashamed to be a community contributor, and I've never said that. I adore this game. I've worked very happily with Wargaming for the last 6 years, but sometimes you've just got to have a line, and when the line is crossed and you really start to question your own beliefs, it's just uncertain times. It's really uncertain for me. And so, ladies and gents, I'd just like to finish this video by saying, do not be convinced by predatory tactics to gamble in a video game with real money to be able to get pixels in your garage.